Texas Heat, Chapter 1. Pedro leaned over and placed a hand on Corey's shoulder. "Corey, it's time to quit." "You go ahead, Pedro. Tell the crew to knock off and go home. I'm going to check the specs for the staircase again before I leave. We set it tomorrow, and I don't want any mistakes." "Man, you've been here 7 months, and I ain't seen you make one mistake yet." A half smile lifted the corner of Corey's mouth. "There's always tomorrow, amigo." Corey watched Pedro and 4 other workers gather their tools and pile into a road-weary pickup. He pictured the home-cooked meals, the caring women, and the houses full of happy kids waiting at home for them. A familiar weariness dampened his spirits. He knew what caused it: loneliness and need. When a man denied their existence too long, they ate away at his core, leaving the better part of him bitter and raw. He was only 31 years old. He wasn't supposed to feel used up. Self-derision mocked him. What did he expect after spending 12 years in a prison for a crime he didn't commit? How did he forget the 4,380 days he'd waited for answers, and for the girl who never came? Was it not supposed to matter? The truth was, it did. It was why he'd come back to Deliverance. For him, it was a place he'd gotten his express ticket to hell. He'd heard it said that the devil always got his due. That had been guaranteed the day he'd fallen in love with the devil's daughter. She was the reason he was here now. Tiffany Covington, the widow of Les Covington of Covington Oil, lived down a straight 2-lane highway a little north of Deliverance, Texas. Yeah, he knew where she lived. He made it his business to know everything about her. At 31, she was a widow with a 12-year-old son named Joey. It galled him that she hadn't waited until the door had closed on his cell before hooking herself a millionaire more than twice her age. The devil no longer lived in Deliverance, though. Sam Glory, Tiffany's father, now lived in a mansion in Austin, the present governor of Texas. Just as well, Corey thought. Settling the score with Sam Glory would land him back in prison and ruin what was left of his life. The barking of 2 black Labradors rerouted his attention. It was all the middle-aged woman on the other end of the leashes could do to keep them in control. He continued to follow their progress just to make sure they didn't pose any threat to the 3 small girls riding their bicycles around the cul-de-sac. The dogs and the woman they were pulling soon passed with no mishap, just as the street lights sputtered on. More time had slipped by than he'd thought. With the daylight fading, he would have to give up the idea of working on the staircase. His back ached, and the muscles in his arms throbbed from working with the weight of the sculptured iron balustrade. The luxury of soaking in a hot tub before he made his way to Telly's sounded better with every aching minute. But he'd promised. So tonight that meant grabbing a quick shower and heading for the steak barn, home of the best Angus steaks west of the Mississippi. Besides, Telly let him indulge the one passion he still cared anything about: his music. This was the first Saturday night of the rodeo season. That meant a hungry crowd from the rodeo arena would fill the restaurant by 9 o'clock. Telly liked bragging about his live Saturday night entertainment. Corey chuckled. He'd been called many things in his 31 years, most of them less than complimentary. Being labeled entertaining was a step up, he supposed. He pushed through the curtain leading to the rear of the plywood platform, loosely called a stage, and picked up his guitar. Telly gave him a short intro and nodded toward the microphone. He sauntered forward with the confidence a familiar place gave a man, rested his booted foot on a low stool, and adjusted his guitar. He always took just a moment before his first set to look over the audience, see what kind of crowd he was playing to. Adrenaline revved his heartbeat, and the tightness in his throat threatened to choke him. Tiffany Covington sat at the center stage table with a young boy and two other couples. By her horrified expression, he was sure she recognized him. She had changed some. Her blonde hair was shorter and a little darker, more honey-colored. He used to tease her about having hair the perfect shade of sun glare. From what he could see, she had filled out a little in all the right places. The one thing had stayed the same. From across the room, her baby blue eyes could still twist a man's gut. And as he knew all too well, at close quarters, they could claim his soul. He did the only thing he could. Standing on the stage, holding a bright red guitar, he sang straight into her eyes. His heart ached with recognition. As he sang the lyrics of Love Gone Bad, a truth he'd buried for over a decade rose like a bull rider heaved into the air. At 18, he'd foolishly given away his heart, and the woman in front of him still owned it. I'm nothing without you. Come make me whole again. The last words of the song coursed through his blood like hot molasses. As he played the final chord, he cursed the girl, his weakness, and Deliverance, Texas, where it all began.